Hey everybody. So here's the economy version of the version 4 extruder. We had to make another design because it was not really justified for us to make all these extra parts whilst we can get away with less and also cheaper, right? And also we have stronger taper bearings and Anyway, let's get through the components one by one. So here's the screw from Robotic, $180 with import tax included for the EU, right? So this is in total 1 meter. Yeah. We have the extra shaft on here also for better distribution of stress and forces, but also 5 centimeter more stick out on the other side from the reducer to connect to something else, like a shredder if you want. Right, at least in theory. Anyway, so this alone takes almost a day to get this really on a position you want for that thing, right? So as a run out of less than a tenth of a millimeter along the whole thing. We also noticed some bend over here, so we straightened this one out. We should make maybe a how-to about this just. Right. Now the barrel, I think the original barrel was 50 millimeter OD. We couldn't get it, so we ended up with 40 millimeter OD and of course 30 millimeter ID for the screw. Right. So the problem here with the barrel is of course that you don't get it in the chuck and even if you have a big lathe, so you don't get that through the spindle you want, right? So you still can lock it up with the tailstock if you still have space here. If not, you will have a problem, but we have a mini how to get a thread on here. It's relatively easy, right? So the barrel flange is super easy actually to do, but also here you're gonna realize that you actually need a adjustable 4-jaw chuck to get this machine from the other side. Alright, you have to machine two sides, and takes almost a half day almost alone to get this barrel machined. Maybe 1 day with the thread here, right? The little holes here are for the thermocouples, so to get a better reading, so we penetrate the barrel a little bit, and where we have some clips holding this in place with a thread. That's Imperial for the inkbird pits, which I recommend. Right. So these also contain a little bit more heat, so you get a bit more stable reading on your temperature controllers. What's next is actually the barrel mount, as you've seen already on Discord. After firing this all up, we noticed even though we did everything stronger and more stable and eventually also more precise, we noticed there's no way we let this hang down as shown in the videos or pictures, right? There was a barrel mount in place, right, in the upgrade folder, but it looked a little bit disproportional, so we made this here from scratch. It takes also almost a day to get it like that. This bar here will hold the heat insulation in place. Easy to do. We let this cut on the laser, I guess, soon too, right? So we have the barrel now, the barrel mount, which should be proportional, and also you want to install this one pretty much at the end, so you can really install some molds at the end, some more heavy stuff, but still you should support your mold at the end, right? Even though it's strong, solid, everything, it will bend, right? and bend means that but your beloved screw will scratch against this C35 steel, right? Yeah, that's of course not good. Right, now we've been so far through the screw parts. Now let's go over to the motor flange. It's quite a piece, super heavy. Also here you have to machine this from both sides. Here's a register, alright, or location for the motor flange, so it fits right on it. It's relatively difficult at the end to machine. It's a big piece, a 16 centimeter diameter, right? And this upper part here we just welded on here. Also we had to cut here register rings, but this locks here perfectly in place. So it has run out, I think, also below 0.1 millimeter. So quite happy with that. About the holes, yeah, you could do this as in the video with paper, but strongly recommend not to do this. Just put it in a CNC router and mark the holes, yeah, with a spot drill. There's a simple command for that, G68, so you just rotate the coordinate system by the steps you need and make a hole, go back and rotate the coordinate system again. If you don't have that, you can still use your lathe and saw blades, and this is a classic method to index basically along this circle here, and it's actually quite precise. So yeah, install the saw blade at the end from your spindle on the left side from the lathe and use it as indexer, and you scratch just with the knife. Here the lines you need, right? So that's another way of doing it. So we have now here also bigger diameter. With that we have also stronger taper bearing. There's enough space in here to try different things. For now we go with a taper bearing, 2 thrust bearings and a spacer in between, right? What's missing here is the grease nibble, but it's basically sealed, right? So you can fill this up all with grease, so no problem with that. Said it's more difficult to do, something like maybe 1 or 2 days just for this piece, right? But still you stay below 4 days. And a material bill just for that without the heat bands around €400. So, and you can do that worldwide, so no special parts in here. This is all standard stuff. Don't worry about this. Yeah, so that's what it is. The heat insulation shield, I said nothing special to it. But what's coming next actually is to deal with the heat and heat bands and the electronics. I'm gonna make another video about this just since we are now 10 millimeter below the original design and barrel size, right? We only had access to these heat bands as a European brand, right? It's a 4.5 centimeter wide, and considering how much you have to put in here, right now we put 6 on here, and I still don't feel good about this. The next one we'll get this ones, right? This is also containing the heat very well, 6 centimeter wide, and I guess we fill the whole barrel up with that as recommended. And also have to think about soon how we can install fans in here to deal with temperature critical applications, like let's say doing filament for real, right? Just to give you an idea, normally you install here proper heat bands, maybe double wide like these, right? But it costs already $200-300 just for one heat band, and then you still need a fitting fan below, right? which is supported by the most PID controllers. So if it's too hot, it's cooling down with the fan, this segment, right? But of course, you need one for each heat band, one PID controller, and that's getting quickly expensive. So we started working now on something we wanted to do anyway, which is basically a touchscreen. It's just 70 bucks, right? Good reviews, works well, 1200 by 600 pixels. We developed this interface right now also, which is then connected to a Raspberry Pi. It's just a kind of mini computer, also 60-70 bucks. We don't run the system from a silly SD card. It's just too much trouble with that, especially on the Pi 4. So what we do is we boot the system from an SSD drive, right? And so more or less in total the system boots up in something like 15 seconds. 5 seconds alone for starting Chromium to run the web application with the whole interface for that stuff here, right? But that is still in development. Probably takes another 2 months to get there. But the idea is to communicate with better Arduino. This one's very nice. It fit on a DIN rail, right? 100 bucks for this one. We're a little bit limited here in outputs. So what it has actually included already is the relays, right? The relays to deal with your heat bands. So, and since there's not too much amps on one heat band, you can run that basically through an Arduino with integrated relays. So this one has just, let me check, something like 1, 2, 3 relays. So this could work with version 4. So you can get rid of these here, right? What you still need is to measure the temperature from the thermocouple, but there are little modules to connect the thermocouple to this temperature readings module and process it inside, and basically replace the complete temperature controller and the relay just with Arduino code. And so we control the whole thing with the Raspberry Pi web application, basically, where you can just choose between different temperature profiles, and also regulate basically the heat for each heat band individually. But if you have to control each heat band, we will see we really need to, otherwise you put them in series. We have also this one, so it's 300 bucks alone, this one, but might worth it because you have alone here 10 relays, right? And these are capable to swallow 30 amps, so it's more than enough to run your extrusion. And of course you can connect here through Ethernet, or in this case you also Modbus if you want, right? And here in this case I'm already controlling very well the VFD for a shredder, which is basically the same application like running the extrusion, right? Anyway, there's a solution in between. What we noticed is that of course this extrusion is quite long, right? And the controls for turning on the extrusion motor are a little bit away normally, also in our designs, from the screw tip or the nozzle. So it's a bit shitty to fill up your mold, having to be there at the mold and at the same time press stop and play, or stop and extrude if you want, right? So we're gonna offer this here as option. This together with the Arduino controller to basically memorize your extrusion time, right? And then just replay it. So this should make it easy to, let's say, fill up your molds fast without any hassle. So this goes in a box with another potentiometer, a dial to set up the external screw speed, let's say, right? But yeah, so there are cheap ways to control that a little bit better. That's it for now. I guess I'm gonna make still another video when this is all fired up, and we make the first tests to see how well this performs. We are looking for quality, not really quantity. I mean, this thing is actually designed for quantity, but it's often nice noticed that the plastic doesn't come usually very well out. You want to go slow as possible. Give the plastic some time to really fully melt. That's why we still have to experiment here with different screw tips. This should be, by looking at it, violent enough. Also considering the speed, right? So yeah, there's still quite some headroom to improve. But yeah, to give you a heads up, this can be done with relatively little means. You could get away doing this just with the lathe, and even on the lathe you can make a key path like that. It's a bit difficult the first time, but there are tricks all over the internet, like YouTube, how to mill out a keyway on the lathe as well. The same goes for the hopper door. And speaking of hopper, here this is an early prototype. We went the first time again for a Cowan design, but I'm not happy about the we don't have a door in here or a window, so I have to send this to the laser and get here some polycarbonate or acrylic in here, right? So yeah, I hope this helped you a little bit to overcome the fear to build a version 4 extruder. Just don't be afraid. At the end, you don't need much CAD drawings. You get this from us, of course, on GitHub. It's relatively complete, including the barrel mount. But yet, what matters is the idea that you really swallow the whole axial force of these bearings, and of course you hold this in place with the motor flange. Then you have a register here pushing this all together. Doesn't need to be super precise, so you can do that. As long as you have a big lathe with adjustable 4-charge jack, you should be fine, right? And I said at the end it's still all semi-industrial extruder, and you can stay below 2,000-3,000. We sell the extruder at the end for 2,000-3,000 euro. If you would do the original, I guess we indeed would have to charge 4,000 or 5,000 euros. Not exactly a good price ratio. We would like to sell. So that's why here's a simple design. Don't worry, what matters is the idea, and from where you can just do this on the go, right? No big trouble with that. Okay, see you soon, bye bye.